Hello?
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, mate. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to say hello.
Thank you.
And very excited that you're coming to see us in Australia.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward.
The initial press releases didn't actually mention that you were bringing Herb with you, so I'm doubly excited that you're bringing your musical partner in crime with you.
Absolutely, and everyone's in for a wonderful treat. Herb is a great singer, great asset to me on stage.
And he is one mean banjo player.
Yes, but I don't think he'll be bringing that with him, just his guitar and his good voice.
Okay.
Yep.
And folks in Australia may not be so familiar with Herb, but he's worked with everybody, with Dan Fogelberger and Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris, and I could be here forever just listing him. So he is a fine talent indeed, and you guys go back quite a way.
We go back almost 50 years. We met when we were 18 years old in 1963, and you're right. But everyone that comes out to see us, I will remind them of his impressive legacy, because probably on most of the folks' records or CDs, and they might see in the credits Herb Peterson background vocals. And one thing is Emmylou, her first big hit song was a duet with Herb.
Okay.
And of course it was Emmy's thing, but it was If I Could Only Win Your Love, and it's a song we had cut a few years ago on an album that we have out. But it was Emmy's big first hit in country music in the States, and Herb sang the duet with her. But yeah, he is a terrific singer, and yes, everybody from Kenny Rogers, James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou, everybody in the world. John Denver, of course, he worked for John Denver for years.
And the footage I've seen of you guys playing together, there's a real chemistry, there's a real fire between you two. You seem to know instinctively what each other is doing, and after you're saying how long you've known each other for, I guess that's why.
It is exactly, like brothers almost. But something, we tackle any song, lots of the Byrds songs we do, and it's all done in an acoustic format. So we really are giving, actually, everybody will hear these songs almost as if they were written. And when we do 8 Miles High, or we do Turn, Turn, Turn from the Byrds, or any of the songs, that's how we worked those up back in the old days. We worked them up on a couple of acoustic guitars and things like that. So we're having a good time.
You also do a lot of teaching and workshops together, I believe.
We do a lot of that. Sometimes we work a festival and we do a workshop. Pardon me. We do teach at this guitar camp that is put on. We've been there 3 times. It'll be our 3rd time. And it's Jorma Kaukonen, who was the lead guitarist in the Jefferson Airplane. And yes. He, and of course in Hot Tuna, with Jack Cassidy. So Jorma runs this guitar camp, and he's had us back. This will be our 3rd time in the next October. So yeah, we do some teaching, and I do on the side. I do speaking engagements at universities and various things.
One of the constants, Chris, that I love about your long and illustrious career is your mandolin playing, and the mandolin is an instrument that, one of the few instruments I think that over the years has never gone out of fashion. It's always been there.
It's an old instrument, very old, and originally classical music was played on it in back 500-600 years ago. But it is a great instrument. I struggle with it every day, believe me. If I don't pick it up and practice, I'm in serious trouble. And that's why I depend on Herb, because he keeps the rhythm so nice for me. But it's a great instrument. I started on that instrument when I was 16 years old. And then I didn't play it from the time I was in the Byrds until, from 1964 until about 68 or 69. I didn't pick one up. I didn't even own one. So I'm still trying to catch up on it. But yeah, I have a good time with it.
The first time that I really came to my attention, you and Herb together, was a CD called Way Out West. Was a pretty much a collection of old bluegrass tunes.
Yeah, gosh, Way Out West. You know, that was a pretty good record. I think they went out of print, but we did a couple of bluegrass things, but most of it was electric country stuff I had written, and I think Herb had a song on there. Am I thinking of the right record, Way Out West? Yes. In fact, I think we even had a bluegrass instrumental on that one when we started the record. But most of it was electric, yeah.
There was a few things on there, old bluegrass standards, that reminded me at the time how evergreen those tunes are, how they still stand up. The test of time has not wearied some of those tunes that we know and love, but don't really, even from the other side of the world here in Australia, we don't really remember them as bluegrass tunes. But I guess it was just the folk music of the day.
I think that's what the best thing to say is that it's all under the umbrella of folk music. And it encompasses everything from blues to bluegrass to mountain music, string band music, and it's all under that big umbrella, yeah.
Have you noticed in recent years in the States, it's certainly here in Australia, there's a resurgence in the love of acoustic music in the last maybe 10 to 20 years, has really taken off and really changed. I
know, it's something I'm quite amazed at it. I think it's a nice change. Then again, you know, there's a lot of the young kids with rock bands and things. I don't keep up with all of it, but there are some very interesting bands out there that are incorporating acoustic instruments and yet are straying outside of the acoustic element. You know, they do sort of rock type songs. No, mostly a lot of good songs are coming out again after a very sleepy period, and I, you know, you have to really find them. I don't pay attention. My son usually will alert me to some good act, you know, he's usually pretty good.
In the course of doing my show, I do talk to a lot of up and coming bands, and it will, with regular monotony, the legacy of the Byrds gets mentioned from even bands here in Australia. And I'm sure that happens to you all the time. Does it still amaze you that how the legacy of what you guys did way back then is still being heard by people that, or their parents weren't even born then?
Well, I got to tell you, you know, I was a very lucky guy to be in the Byrds, and I'm proud of that band. It was a good band. It was a great band, and we were taught, because we were young kids, our manager taught us, he said, go for substance and go for good songs that you can be proud of in 30 years. And he was right. Most of the time we cut some really great songs, and they stood the test of time. And I've never gotten tired of singing Turn, Turn, Turn. And for that matter, Tambourine Man, although I prefer Turn, Turn. My favorite Byrds song is on the first album we did called Bells of Rhymney, which is a folk song, and it's about coal miners in Wales, in the UK. And I love that song. Once again, Pete Seeger had performed that, and we worked it up electrically. But that is, to me, the epitome of the Byrds sound. But it stands the test of time, and I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of that group.
If my calculations is correct, it must be, is it this year or last year, your 50th anniversary of being a recording artist? That's amazing.
Well, you know, almost. I'm just shy. It's about 48 years now and counting, so we're going to go for 50, I think, God willing. We'll play as long as people want to hear it, and as long as I can play and sing. If it gets to where I can't perform, then I will bow out gracefully and try and piece together my memoirs. much as I can remember of them. I can remember pretty much all of it.
I'm sure there's a great deal to remember, and things have changed so much. It must be it would be an amazing book once if you get pen to paper to go through just how the music industry has changed.
Oh yeah, it's really changed. When I started, it was a very small artistic community in the sense of the guys that ran the record labels were all very much in love with the music, and if you were good enough to get a record deal, they would keep you on that label for 3 or 4 records. And yes, they wanted to make a profit. It was a business venture, but nobody was thrown under the bus, so to speak, if you didn't sell 1 million records right out the door, you know. And that all happened later, and everybody was getting a little. The business changed right around 1967, 68. I mean, it was going big time with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and to some extent the Byrds and all the rest. But it really got big from 68 on, I think, and just through the 70s exploded. And but it was such a great little, as we say in the States, a cottage industry, meaning a small, very intimate business. We're focusing on the art of the music, the creativity of the music. So you really, once you got a record deal, you pretty much could do anything you wanted. Had a lot of free time to create something.
Do you see that now, Chris, as maybe one of the good things that the internet has brought people, that there's an independence in music? There's a lot of bad things it's brought, indeed, but the independence and being able to make your own music and get it out to people in a similar way to it was back then. I see that as a good thing.
It is a good thing. I think still the bottom line is you have to have a following, you know, and you need to know how to perform on stage. That's the bottom line. You get a following. You have to create that following, and they will download your album and support you and go to your shows, because it's all not just making a record on your Pro Tools on your computer. I mean, you really want to be out in front of people playing. That was the whole magic of it all. That's what drew everybody into it and still does. So that, yes, it's a good tool. We adapt to those things, and most of the stuff, the later stuff I did, I mean, is downloadable, and that's fine. And I get paid. That's fine. I pay attention and make sure that I get paid, you know.
It's also, Chris, good for us on the other side of the world that we get to keep up with guys like you and her, because unfortunately in Australia anyway, the mainstream radio doesn't play much music other than top 40 music. So it's a way of getting to hear. You know, even way back in the 70s, your band, the Flying Burrito Brothers, is not really well known in Australia because they really didn't get much airplay here.
Yeah, that was the problem, and actually the Burrito Brothers didn't get much airplay back in the 70s, but you know, now of course they are bigger than ever. You know, and of course the band is gone, but they sell. The records still sell. They still keep putting records out, and. Yeah, I understand that you're dealing with other than, do you have satellite radio in Australia?
Yeah, and part of my show actually goes out on that sort of thing, but it's digital radio is still really in its early days here.
Okay, yeah, that's the only outlet in the States is Sirius XM satellite, and mostly it's in cars. But you know, but you get this wonderful. Up to 200 stations you can listen to of really eclectic music, of like really great jazz, blues, or country, or bluegrass, or early rock, and that's what saves everything. And I get more airplay on the satellite radio than I do when I don't get it on regular, except unless it's a folk show or something. That's okay. You know, we still play and we get out there. And once we start playing, people usually come back. And like I said earlier, you build up a following. You build it up and do well on stage, and that's what I tell young people that ask my advice. I say, get to where you're comfortable performing and that you can sing and play and entertain people, and you'll do fine.
This is not your first visit to Australia, Chris?
No, this is actually would be my third. I came with Manassas in 1973, I believe it was, and then I came with Roger McGuinn and Gene Clark as McGuinn, Clark, and Hillman in 1978, I believe it was. So I haven't been down for a long time.
So, well, Australia's changed a little in those years, but I'm sure the only thing that's changed, one of the things that's changed for the good is I'm sure there's a great deal many more people that are keen to come and see you play.
That'd be great. Well, I've changed too. I've gotten older.
Unfortunately, that happens to us all.
We all have gotten older and hopefully smarter. So we'll see. But I am really looking forward to coming down. I think it'll be a great time, and we'll have a great time playing music for everyone. And
you're doing a really interesting mix of shows in Australia. Some normal gigs, but some winery gigs, and the one in Adelaide is very special because it's the Fringe Festival in a large, sort of like a circus tent, but it's a great venue.
Great, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not sure what all of the venues are like, but I know that we have those festivals, and that'll be great. So, and that'll be good. We'll all have a good time. I'm
sure we will, and look forward to hearing some tunes from the 50 years of wonderful music you've been making, Chris, and I thank you so much for saying hello. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for calling me. And what time is it where you are now?
It's midday. Midday tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Chris. As I said, a great pleasure to say hello, and I will make a point of coming to say hello at the show. I'm so looking forward to it, and please pass on my thanks to your good wife Connie for setting this up. I do very much appreciate it.
You're a good man. Bless you. God bless you. We'll see you in a matter of a month, huh?
Take care. Look forward to it. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.